So, Emily, I am torn in between about three things.
Whether we should be indoors with a blanket over our laps.
No, that's not one of them, because this is a gorgeous sunset. I'm torn between consistency, evolve or die, but also Einstein's definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right?
Yeah.
So I am torn between, because I put this post out on LinkedIn the other day where I was a bit proud of myself. I'd done a park run. LinkedIn's for showboating, right? You'd have tried not to, but it kind of literally, by the time you've been brainwashed by everyone else, you start writing, well, I did this. But that wasn't actually my point.
So LinkedIn's for show, Strava's for the pro.
Yeah, LinkedIn for... No, that doesn't make sense. LinkedIn for show, Strava for the pro. They're completely different worlds.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to apologise to the Strava lovers out there for my wife and business partner and lover. Right. Anyway, my point was I put a post out on LinkedIn where I'd talked about I'd knocked 30 odd seconds off my PB. Emily had told me clearly you hadn't been trying hard enough.
Yeah.
And I put a post out there where is it possible to achieve without working hard? Something like that was my question. I'll link to it in the description if you want to go and have a read of it. And Jude, good mate Jude at Ready Steady Websites wrote, actually, I think the answer is consistency. And and she's right? We're all right. We're in a world where nothing's wrong. And she put, as long as you're consistently working towards your goal. But it's just got us thinking, hasn't it, about the definition of insanity being this, and is consistency the answer? And, what was the third? Evolve or die. So, we thought we'd have a little conversation, share some thoughts. And that's the other reason we're outside today. Do you want to say something? Because otherwise it's going to be me.
Oh.
No. So
we're outside today also because we're recording this in the Easter holidays, and we have got one of those rare occasions where we are child-free in an evening, and we're like, let's go and have a kebab and a lay-by.
Yeah, I said, Emily, I've got an idea. Let's go and film the podcast where the sun's setting. And Emily looked at me like, really? I just want to sit on the sofa with a gin and tonic. But
haven't got any gin in the house, first world issues.
In the house, so kebab in the park it was.
So we're going to stand in the park and hope that all the people walking behind their dogs don't think we're that weird.
Right, come on, Emily, we need to get an answer.
Do you know what? Consistency is consistency is key. Consistency is key. That is one of those buzz phrases that you hear along with be authentic. Choose your authentic voice. There's nothing wrong with consistency. Don't get me wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you said that to me the other day, and I went, well, that's all very well being consistent, but what if you're being consistent doing the wrong things?
Well, I said that, didn't I? We were discussing that, and what I said was, consistency has to align with a goal.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? And I actually made a point in watching loads of videos on consistency on YouTube before coming out. And what a lot of them didn't talk about was, does it align with the goal? Is the action you're taking that you're being consistent with?
It's that.
Yeah.
It's the action you're taking towards that goal, because the goal doesn't really matter, because it could be, your goal is to achieve £1 million next year. The goal could be to be the Queen of England. It could be anything, right? But it has to align with your goal, but the action has to be the right action to align with your goal. So it doesn't really matter what your consistency is. It has to be the action you're taking towards aligning with your goal. Because, for example, we are recording a podcast right now. We love the podcast. Mostly love it.
I do.
Apart from going,
Well, let's be brutally honest. I feel our podcast currently is about the fact that we quite like the sound of our own voices.
Your own voice.
Well, whatever.
But the consistency part is we committed to the fact that we need a content strategy for our business. So therefore we are putting out content once a week, and we are religious with the fact that we're consistently putting out content once a week as part of the podcast YouTube strategy. Yes, absolutely. That's consistent. What's not consistent is the style of video that we're taking, because we have to evolve or die, right? It's the idea of, we started the podcast 2 years ago, year and a half ago.
Doesn't really matter.
A while back, and we did the format of, and we still do it occasionally, and we haven't stopped that, the podcast studio with a guest on the other end of it, and we interview and we have a lovely chat about business, and we do that because we're interested in the stories of our Digital Circus members. Fact, fantastic. But we also recognise that we could do that for the next 10 years straight, and it may not hit the mark with our audience or the people that we want to work with or our wider...
Well, hold on. Aren't we now in the world of defining what the success... What are the metrics of success of that podcast, this podcast?
Yeah, but what we're taking is we are consistently committed to putting out content once a week. But just because we're putting out content once a week does not mean it needs to be the same format, style, whatever. Because we've been out today in the park, we've been out in a car in Ringo the Belingo doing it. We will probably do something at the Funpreneurs Big Day Out with the roller coaster.
Sorry, Funpreneurs Big Day Out. Tell me about that quickly. What's that?
19th of June, Poulton's Park. It's going to be a hoot. Come
Who's
along
it
down.
for?
For funpreneurs just like you, to come and meet other funpreneurs just like you.
Yeah, it's about having the chat. It's about our newsletter this week. Actually, is all about. I digress momentarily. Is all about people. I wrote it on Monday, and it's all about people and speaking, and that's what the Funpreneurs Big Day Out is all about. It's about recognising that you're that type of person who just wants to go and hang out with some people, and the business can come, isn't it?
So bringing it back to content, you could be consistent and put out 3, 4, 5, 6,000 Instagram posts every single week, because that's what you're told to do to be consistent with your social media. But doesn't mean that the social media you're putting out is consistently going to be right for your business. So why not give yourself that opportunity? There's midgies, Alan, there's midgies.
I know. I think that's a great question, and we can get a great point. We can get caught up in the semantics of the word, of the use of the word consistent.
Yeah.
We can get caught up in everything. But fundamentally, if you run a business, right, and your sole marketing, advertising, PR, visibility efforts is one social media post on one channel a month, are you ever, and let's just say your goal is to profit with enough money, to I don't something. I'm trying to come up with something realistic to buy a family holiday,
Yeah,
right?
fine. Get a Disney World.
You don't want to make a wage out of it or anything else. But is one social media post consistently a month gonna be enough?
Probably not.
What if it went viral?
Well, that's
What
great.
if that post got you 10 billion views?
Is that consistent effort? And it goes back to what you said about effort, and what effort in terms of return of reaching your goal, which is what Jude said, bless her. It goes, as long as I'm...
Why are you blessing her? I sounded well patronising.
Sorry, Jude.
Sorry, Jude. We love you. We do love, just for the record, we love Jude.
I love her.
And, but it just got us
one of my
thinking.
nearest and dearest.
Yeah.
But effort and output is very different in terms of what consistency is, because you could consistently put a piece of crap content out and it happened just to go viral on that one occasion and blow up. Have you put lots of effort into it? Probably not. But if you are putting lots of effort every single day into doing something that is rubbish and not getting the return, when do you logically go, this needs to stop? And I think you need to really be very clear on those boundaries and what's going to work. And going back to the whole playing with your content, is that you don't know what the next thing could be. And innovative and innovate is a word we don't use enough in our business.
Innovate, evolve, yeah.
We used to have 3, didn't we? I can't remember what the 3 we've evolved.
Did we?
We've evolved.
I don't even remember using it.
Innovate was one of those top 3 words we do. It was like we're not.
When was that?
Oh, a couple of years ago, we took, when we did like our 3 C's and these, but there was definitely something I had in it. See,
did we innovate and evolve, or did we just get bored and change, which is probably
it's
more
totally
our
fine
style?
Totally fine. But if you are consistently trying to do exactly the same thing as the next business owner in your industry doing to the left or to the right of you, then you're really going to be pushing up a hill every single time. But thinking about outside the box are different things that you could do, different ways of capturing attention, different ways in which you could pick up a camera and pick up your microphone and chat. I mean, this is ridiculous right now. I'm watching that dog owner with the teeny tiniest dog ever going for the longest.
I have to. I will try and get some footage of this. But there is a dog. He did say hello to us as we were setting up. But over there is like some what's that stuff called? I can't.
Climbing apparatus.
Like physical PT exercise
PT gym stuff.
Gym stuff in the park. And the dog, this little chihuahua, was going over it and he was filming it. It was very cool. I'll try and get a video in a minute.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Innovate, evolve. So I'll tell you where I'm at. Like, I don't want people. I'm quite happy posing a question, right? Like, there's lots of buzzwords. There's a whole world. I've been caught up in a world. I've been speaking to my best friend, Gemini. Gemini knows everything about it. Knows me inside and out.
You were
Gemini
so pleased. You put one of your emails through it today, and he went, "This email is excellent."
This is true.
You got all your blinking brownie points from Gemini. I don't need to change this with AI. It's perfect
what's
as it
called?
is.
Like when you're getting
gratification
off of AI. I do. Like every week, I write my newsletter, and because Emily proofreads the newsletter before we send it out, the Yellow Tuxedo newsletter, link in the description.
Alan with the typos every day. Yeah.
I chuck it in Gemini and go, please, can you just check? Don't change it, but can you just check it for spelling, grammar, flow, and, you know, does it make sense? And Gemini normally comes back with a couple of tweaks or spellings here, and it came back with today, Alan, this is excellent. So it comes out tomorrow.
As if his head needs growing any larger, the AI bot thinks he's perfect.
Well, the AI's opinion was it was excellent, but then it's opinions, isn't it? Is it? I need to. Oh, there we go. I didn't make any noise. Oh. Right. So I feel I would like to. I can't remember why I brought up AI. I feel that I'm happy posing a question, but is there an answer?
Of course, there's not. It's an opinion piece, isn't it?
That's where I got to, actually. That's why we were talking about AI. So, you know, when we talk about businesses, over here you've got someone talking about it's about systems, it's about automation. Over here you've got someone talking about it's the people, it's the connections, it's this, and over here, and like, so is.
Look, you don't want to throw another thing into the ring to say, guys, you should be doing this as well, because I know, quite frankly, from a lot.
Aren't we one of those businesses though? Don't we sell you should be doing this?
There's some of it is black and white facts. You should be doing this.
Actually, I agree. You should be doing what we teach in visibility.
But what we've always been very, 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 very mindful of with Yellow Tuxedo as our business is that we will never tell you what you should be doing in terms of your posting and how you should appear online. You know, your creativity, your business, the way you show up is completely and utterly up to you, and no other person on this planet can tell you otherwise. So if you want to be doing, I don't know, on a roller coaster at Funpreneurs Big Day Out on the 19th of June doing a podcast, why not? Sounds brilliant. If you want to be...
Well, yeah, radio mics clipped on, connected to our phone, we could do that. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the space?
If you want to be in your garden, one of my clients today she's a gardening type person with her business, and like she was trying to work out how to sell the apparel for her business, her sort of the merch side of it. Like it's nothing to do with the product you're selling. The products are the t-shirts and the hats and the bits and pieces. What you're selling is the fact that you're outdoors and amongst the trees and in the garden growing stuff. That's kind of the bias. If you want to be out recording things and absolutely, you carry on. No one can tell you otherwise. And I just think social media's got to a point now where it's so prescribed.
Yeah, but this is content specifically. This is social media specifically.
Well, any kind of consistent output.
What about like if you're going to the gym, which I appreciate is not your world.
No.
But you know,
no, it's not.
If I look at running and I want to be a good, right? So it does have to align with the goal, right? Yeah. So efforts have to align with the goal. But I can't get past this hard effort thing. Can you achieve the goal with low ball, kind of gentle, consistent effort? It depends what the goal is.
Right, okay. Last week's episode, we talked about my rubbish attempt at networking in person the other day. And although that was probably me on a bad day, because I don't mind talking to people. It's kind of one of the...
We love talking to people.
But if you consistently say, I'm going networking for my business, that's what your consistent effort is. Week in, week out, you're going to any given networking, be it online or in person. If you are consistently doing what I did last week, where I had my back against the wall, not talking to people, what is the actual point? You're ticking the box that you are consistently doing that action, but unless you are saying hi, getting involved, having conversations, meeting people, sharing...
Well, that's what James and Kelly always say at Only, isn't it? It's like, it's all very well going networking, but that's just the beginning. That's the opening the door.
Yeah,
you know?
and if you are... Quite frankly, if you're kidding yourself if you think that consistency on its own is enough to get you over the finish line. It won't.
It's almost like consistency is the top of the pyramid, but it's laid on foundations. It needs to be aligned with a goal. It needs to be part of Evolve or Die. It needs to be...
Evolve or Die.
Yeah, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? It needs to be, one of those foundations is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing every day and expecting a different result. And only after you've answered all these things, what am I trying to achieve? After all of that, then can you probably answer consistency, I feel. Yeah. And I think that was the problem with a lot of the content I was watching. I found myself actually searching for consistency is not the answer videos, which lo and behold hadn't done very well because they're probably not telling people what they want to hear. But, it's...
I just think outside the box a bit. Think outside the box. I mean, we don't...
No, think outside. No
No
box
box required. You
That
can't,
was,
that was my
context,
line.
Context, Emily. Go on, quick context.
Back in 2012, when we had our other business, Bailey Bell Tents in Hampshire, one of the South Coast first glamping companies. Thank you very
Premier.
much.
Let's just say that.
Premier.
Premier award-winning glamping company.
We were coming up with some strap lines and things for our own marketing, and everyone's like thinking outside the box. And I went, think outside, no box required. We've got them on coasters in our house still.
We still have them on, and it still makes me smile when I look at it. Should we draw a line under this?
It's only because there's a big scary dog on its way, and I don't think Alan's going to be able to cope with it, because usually when there's a big scary dog, he throws me in front of it.
That hashtag true story.
Hashtag last story, because we do have to
Is
finish.
this final point?
Final point.
I can also say this park's actually quite busy. I'm gobsmacked that no one has walked past
It was
it.
empty when we arrived. Empty. I mean, how beautiful was the sun setting over the hills?
Yes.
But no. When we were looking for our location for our wedding, because we got married in a field in Dorset overlooking Corfe Castle.
In Dorset?
In Dorset. It's great, yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
We were looking for a view. We didn't know where. We didn't want to go to a formal venue. We wanted to look for a farmer's field or something like that. So we were looking for a specific view. So we went like knocking on farmers' doors to go, could we ever look at your field? Would you rent us your field for a weekend? That kind of thing. And we got to this one field, and it was really stunning. And we got to the farm, and we heard, we rang the door, no one was answering. And then all of a sudden we heard three very large
Hounds of hell. Hounds of hell.
They were
came
Rottweilers. They were Rottweiler.
I think that's an understatement.
They were very large.
What's bigger than a Rottweiler? It was scary.
And they came running towards us, and instead of kind of helping me, his fiancée, love of his life, as he keeps going on, blah 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 blah, he literally thrust me ahead of him and used me as a human shield. As it turns out, the dogs were very lovely. They were just very excitable, and the farm was very
never
nice.
let the truth get in the way of a good story. Hey,
it's not the truth. It is the truth. You literally use me
like dogs. I don't. I pushed you forward. It wasn't for them to eat you first.
I've got the scars to prove it.
Is this it?
Bye.
Bye.